What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 79. Yep, we're getting closer and closer to episode 100, but we can't stop. We can't stop because we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. There's always some crazy things that come out. That's why I stream every single day, Monday through Friday. It's going to be starting with somewhere between 6 and 7. So you cannot miss. But like always, these videos will be broken down, so you'll be able to see it if you don't catch the live stream. Hope everybody had a beautiful day. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025, and it's right after 6:15. Hopefully everybody had a good day at work. You know what tomorrow is, y'all. You know what tomorrow is. It is Friday. Some people got payday. Some people got paid today. But hey, it is Friday, the last month of the year. We got to finish out strong. We have to finish out strong. We got a lot of things to talk about today. Like always, there's a lot of crazy things. We got some new updates on the Texas A&M student who was found dead. People were thinking it was a suicide, but we're going to get over into the cause of death. We also got, it looks like from back in 2021, they finally identified the suspect from the pipe bombs. Crazy situations. We also going to talk about, it seems like I see a video from Florida. 92,000 pounds of drugs and explosives were found, confiscated in a drug raid. I don't know what they're doing with that much. Wonder what kind of drugs it was. But they've been caught. They didn't look that old either. So throwing your life away. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is I've seen something that you wouldn't expect, but it's happened before, which is crazy to think about. Someone set a sleeping subway rider on fire. Can't even sleep on the subway. I don't know why you want to, but some people have to. But they end up setting them on fire. It's a crazy world we live in, y'all. It's a crazy world we live in, but we got to keep living it, and we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. Like always, if you disagree with anything I said, let me know. Leave a comment. We can talk about it. Let's have a good discussion. The main thing, people need to talk more. That's the problem with the world now. People need to talk more. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today, we got to get over into the Texas A&M stuff. So the Texas A&M student who was found dead at the bottom of apartment building, they have finally revealed the cause of death. Now, remember, the mother was adamant that she would not commit suicide. But the police, when they first investigated, said that there was no signs of any foul play. So that's what they were just investigating it as a death case. They wasn't investigating it as a murder. But now let's get over into the police issuing the statement on what the cause of death was. I wonder if it is actually ruled a suicide if the mother would accept it, or is she going to want to do a separate investigation. But let's get over into it and see what we can learn. At the end of the day, it's a tragic situation, and something you wouldn't wish on any parent or any child. So let's get over into it, see what we can find out.
Rio Grande Street. The decedent, later identified as Brianna Aguilera, was located on the ground with trauma consistent to having fallen from a higher floor. Brianna was pronounced deceased at 12:56 a.m. I, along with crime scene specialists, responded to process the scene and interview witnesses. A witness informed officers that they had heard a sound of a thud and then observed a female on the ground. Initially, it was unknown who the decedent was and on what floor she had fallen. The medical examiner arrived on scene, and the body was taken to the medical examiner's office, where she was later positively identified. In the meantime, I was able to contact one of the employees at the 21 Rio Apartments at approximately 6 a.m. that same morning. The staff at 21 Rio were cooperative throughout this entire investigation. By approximately 10 a.m., we were able to access the camera's system inside the apartment complex, which shows us the hallway areas. It was found that Brianna had arrived at the apartment complex just after 11 p.m. on Friday, November 28th, and that she went into a specific apartment on the 17th floor. Video surveillance has confirmed that a large group of friends left that same apartment at 12:30 a.m. on November 29th, leaving just Brianna and 3 other girls in the apartment. Now, on Saturday, November 29th, at approximately 12:54 p.m., I, along with patrol officers, made contact with the residents of that specific apartment that Brianna had been observed going into. The residents informed me that they were trying to report that their friend Brianna was missing. I was able later to confirm they had in fact placed a 911 call at 12:14 p.m. earlier that afternoon to report their friend Brianna was missing. They informed me that they were hosting friends for the Texas A&M football game and that Brianna was supposed to be staying there that preceding evening. I spoke with 3 different female witnesses on scene, as well as later a 4th witness who had left earlier that morning. The investigation showed that Brianna had been at a tailgate party earlier in the day and became intoxicated to a point that she was asked to leave the same tailgate. She had told her friends that she had lost her phone at some point near that tailgate. They had all returned to the apartment, where Brianna borrowed a phone of a friend to call an out-of-town boyfriend. Witnesses heard Brianna arguing on the phone with her boyfriend, which was also confirmed later by the boyfriend. Phones from both the phone Brianna used and the boyfriend's phone have confirmed through call logs that call did occur.
Okay,
now this call occurred at approximately 12.
Now we're gonna pause. I'm not gonna pause it too much, but now y'all remember that her phone was found in a wooded area in one of her friend's bags. So that's still a very big mystery, or that's what it was last reported as. So let's keep going.
43 to 12:44 a.m., approximately 1 minute. This is 2 minutes before the 911 call of the body found down below on the pavement. On Saturday, November 29th, it was found that Brianna's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, had called the Austin Police Department at 12:50 p.m. This was in an attempt to locate Brianna. Rodriguez called back an hour later at 2 p.m., stating the location of her daughter's missing phone. The phone was located by Austin police officers in a wooded area by 3:30 p.m. that afternoon near Walnut Creek in a field by the Austin Rugby Club. Through this investigation, it was found that Brianna had attended the tailgate on Friday, November 28th at the Austin Rugby Club, arriving between 4 and 5 p.m. and then leaving at approximately 10 p.m. Witnesses stated that after Brianna was asked to leave the tailgate, she had repeatedly dropped her phone and staggered into a nearby wooded area where her phone and other items were later located by Austin police. Just after 4 p.m. on Saturday, November 29th, officers from the scene paged homicide to inform them that they had located the property belonging to Brianna and determined that there was also a separate deceased person call with the same name. Rodriguez was notified of Brianna's death just before 5 p.m. Brianna's phone was placed with the rest of her property still on the 17th floor of the apartment for her family to later receive. On Monday, December 1st, the mother and father of Brianna met with victim services and those of us in the homicide office at police headquarters. There, Rodriguez turned over Brianna's phone and gave it back to us. A further review of Brianna's phone shows a deleted digital suicide note dated Tuesday, November 25th of this year, which was written to specific people in her life. From the moment this call originated...
Hold on, back it up.
Digital suicide note dated Tuesday, November 25th of this year, which was written to specific people in her life. From the moment this call originated up until now, between all of the witness statements, all of the video evidence, and all of the digital evidence collected, at no time did any evidence point to this being anything of a criminal nature. Rather, our investigation has revealed that unfortunately Brianna had made suicidal comments previously to friends back in October of this year. This continued through the evening of her death with some self-harming actions earlier in the evening and a text message to another friend indicating the thought of suicide. We recognize that hearing news like this can be difficult and may affect members of the community in very personal ways. If you or someone you know is experiencing emotional distress or mental health struggles, support is available. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or contact Integral Care's 24-hour helpline at 512-472-HELP. That's 512-472-4357 to be connected with local crisis services, including mobile response teams. No one should have to navigate these kind of crises alone.
Absolutely crazy. Now, so you heard what all they said. They said that she had previously had a deleted suicide note on her phone. She made suicidal comments to her friends. And this happened right after she got into an argument with her boyfriend. It's a tragic situation, but everything's pointing to she committed suicide. Now, it goes to show you that it's horrible to say, but parents won't know everything that's happening with their child. Once they get older, and that's what a lot of parents, they don't see it. They will never see that their child was suicidal. But I wonder if the mother will accept the findings, or if she's going to want to do an independent investigation. But let's keep going and finish up this. They're probably going to take some questions from the reporters.
Questions?
And I'll open it up for questions.
Oh, you want us to pick?
Job. Go ahead, Brianna.
Couple things. Was the mom made aware of these previous suicidal comments when you guys figured that out during the investigation? And I know a big part of this is trying to address some online speculation, so just wanted to bring up something that people have brought up about concerns about fights that Brianna may have gotten in with other people in that apartment. Can you address those?
Sure.
Now, before I will say because it's going to be kind of hard to hear, so I will just turn this up when I break down these videos. But let's keep going.
The first part first. I was in contact with Brianna's mother beginning Saturday afternoon. We spoke through Sunday and Monday through the meeting here. Since then, I've attempted 4 times to contact her. I wanted to share this information privately. She did not reply to any of my attempts to talk to her until yesterday afternoon, where she asked me to talk to her lawyer. So I have not been in contact with her mother. However, her father I have been in contact with. He knows all of this information as of yesterday. And then secondly, the fight.
Yeah.
There have been online reports of a fight. The only evidence that we have of any kind of physical altercation was Brianna punching one of her friends as they tried to help her out of the party. We have no evidence of any other altercation.
That sounds pretty typical of someone who's very intoxicated. They get angry quickly. We've all been around somebody who's been very intoxicated and is quick to anger and swing out.
Did the witnesses that y'all talked to give any reason why they didn't call 911 earlier?
Any reason why they didn't call 911?
So most of those witnesses, between the time of night that it was, they slept for some periods of time. They do have some text messages. They were worried. They assumed, because so many friends from their hometown were here in Austin staying at different locations, they had assumed she probably just went back out with another friend group that was in the immediate area, and nobody had any idea.
Did anyone watch her go over the balcony?
No, ma'am. No, we have no evidence to suggest that.
Can you share more about that deleted note that you mentioned? When was that deleted, and do you have information about how that was deleted?
So that phone is currently with our digital forensics units to be processed. It is being processed as of last night. I just know the date of it. I don't know exactly when it was typed, but I found it in the deleted items folder, and that's about all I can say at this point.
The date from the deleted item was from November the 25th, so it appears that's when it was written.
Brianna?
In the absence of the chatter that happened online about this, how would you have handled this investigation?
I hated the chatter probably as much as her family and everybody, and the living witnesses hate it. The problem is I can't make a public statement until I interview everyone, and several of these people we had interviewed 2 times Video takes hours and hours, not only to get, but then to go through and process and look at. Her phone takes hours to go through. I've never been a part of an investigation that's happened as fast as I wanted to. We always wanted to go faster, but in this case, so many people knew her, so many people wanted to help us. Just to dig through all that information, unfortunately, it has taken 3 or 4 days.
How certain would you say y'all are, sorry to explain, certain y'all are in this determination?
Just every investigation, we have to rely on the evidence, and all evidence in this case is indicative of suicide.
Now, you know how we was talking about earlier, the mother was very concerned, saying that she didn't think that the police was handling this seriously. But it sounds like they were handling it as best as they would have with any other case, especially seeing that no foul play was seen, how long it takes for them to gather information and do their investigation. But it's never going to be fast enough for the family who's grieving, who wants answers immediately on why their child is gone. But let's keep going.
Can you share a little bit more about who was inside the apartment at the time that she fell? And were you able to speak with all of those people?
I won't share their names, obviously. Yes, I've been able to speak with every single person in there. All of them multiple times, actually, throughout this. They were just all friends. Again, this is all a large friend group from Laredo.
Is there anything that you can share about what she was last seen wearing? I've heard from a couple of people that they were questioning some of the wardrobe that was seen after the fact.
I'll speak to that. She was found wearing the same stuff she was wearing at the tailgate. Part of the reason it took 4 hours for the video surveillance, she was wearing something slightly different when she arrived back at the apartment. So that kind of threw things off to actually locate her. But she was wearing the exact same stuff from earlier in the evening.
It took a bit, I would say, to notify the mom. Was that because y'all had to go through me and do the identification, or what was that?
Sure. Yeah, it took a while to positively identify her, but on top of that, as Detective Marshall had mentioned, about around 2 p.m. on that Saturday is when they'd actually set the gears in motion to try to notify her. So she had called about 12:50, and she was notified that same afternoon.
We'll take 2 more questions.
You mentioned an argument with her boyfriend before her death. How soon did that happen before her death, and were you able to make contact with him as well?
So I have spoken with him multiple times. That phone call happened approximately 2 minutes before the 911 call of her reporting her on the sidewalk.
He said they said 2 minutes. 2 minutes after she got off the phone arguing with her boyfriend, she ended up taking her own life. The boyfriend's probably going through it right now. We got to remember about him. I don't know what they were arguing about. It could have been something bad. It could have been something he did. It could have just been a normal boyfriend-girlfriend argument. But I can't imagine just 2 minutes after you get into an argument with your girlfriend, she ends up taking her own life. I want to know if he knew about her suicidal thoughts.
You talked to friends or people that were in the apartment till Sunday. Maybe you said it in the timeline, can you tell us again when you started talking to people?
We first identified the apartment very late morning, early afternoon on Saturday. We talked to them immediately that very same time. And like I said, since then we've spoken multiple times to everyone that was in the apartment.
Absolutely crazy. I think we got the gist of everything that's happening. Like I said, I will increase the volume of the reporters talking so we can actually hear their questions very clearly. But my main thing is, I wonder, will the mother accept what has been said? I wonder, will the mother accept what has been said? Because it's a tragic situation altogether. Suicide is never a fun thing to think about. Suicide, you would never think that your daughter would be the one to take her own life. But all the evidence points to suicide. Deleted suicide notes, everything. The fact that her phone was found, and her phone was even everything from her phone being found in a wooded area. All the pieces have been brought together. Hopefully the mother can get closure from this. She's never going to be all right with knowing that her daughter was so upset that she committed suicide, but she's going to have to get help to find closure. It's a tragic situation all around, but that is what is being reported from the Texas A&M student that was found dead. It's a tragic situation. We just got to pray for the family, pray for everybody who's going through this, who's grieving. And like always, if you're dealing with some kind of suicidal thoughts, if you're thinking about it, please seek help. Seek out and reach out to find some help for some people. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. We're going to pivot now. We're going to pivot now into the next topic. We got to go to the pipe bomb. So the pipe bomb suspect has been identified. We're going to go over into 2 videos. Looks like they also go into his house. So we'll probably not watch the whole thing, but we're going to get over into it and see what we can learn and see what they tell us about this situation. So let's get over into it and see what it's about.
We're back with more breaking news on one of the biggest FBI breaks in the Bureau's recent history. MS Now has now learned the identity of the suspect arrested in the January 6th pipe bombing case. We've got our full panel to break this down, but let's get right to MS Now's Carol Leonnig to start us off. Carol, what do we know about the suspect?
MS Now has reported and confirmed that Brian Cole, a young man from Woodridge, Virginia, is the suspect who was arrested this morning. When MS Now first broke this story, my colleague Ken Delanian and I earlier I don't know, I feel like all the hours run together, but it was somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning. We didn't know the name of that person, but we have since confirmed it. And we're still now waiting to see what the FBI has learned about this person's motivations or what this person's reason was for planting these bombs that didn't detonate as it happens on January 6th, right outside the headquarters of the RNC and the DNC.
Do we have any sense right now about whether this person was on the Bureau's radar at all?
We do. Great question. What we learned last night and reported earlier this morning is that this individual was someone that had been identified not as a likely suspect, but whose information had been gathered and pulled together in this massive sort of dragnet that the FBI was engaged in from literally January 7th, 2021 until today. Mm-hmm. One of the sticky issues for the FBI, and we'll be really keen to hear the explanation for this, but one of the sticky issues is that why didn't analysts and investigators at the FBI sort of connect these dots earlier when this person's information was already in evidence the FBI had in hand, and mostly evidence it had collected in 2021 and 2022.
So, Carol, this was a huge investigation. You talk about it lasting over years. Can you give us a broader sense of how big it was, how many people were involved, how many resources were devoted to it, the kinds of evidence that they collected?
Oh my gosh, there's so many good data points on that. Hundreds of agents and analysts were pulled into this work. 2 of the most interesting elements, Anna, of the pipe bomb investigation were the sort of lengths, the globe-trotting lengths of the earth that the FBI was willing to travel digitally and physically to try to track down possible suspects. One was they learned some of the components of this explosive device that didn't actually explode, and there was a battery kind of connector. The FBI then went to the effort of collecting in subpoenas, all of the credit card receipts for big box chain stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. Everyone who had purchased one of these connectors, their information was compared against all the cell phones that had been collected around the Capitol on that day and in the hours.
They don't play. All it sounds like is they do not play. Every box store, all the receipts, and then they cross-reference it with all the cell phone activity. That's got to be a wide range of people, but it's all people who are potential suspects. You can't get away with things nowadays. It's truly hard to get away with something. It's truly hard. Let's keep going.
Hours before, and tried to see a connection. Was there a connection between this connector purchase and anyone who was physically near the Capitol at this time? The second element of the investigation, also traveling the lengths of credit card receipts from here to Timbuktu, was looking at dozens of athletic shoe retailers and credit card purchases of a particular Nike shoe that the FBI determined the suspect was wearing. Again, looking at every single purchaser to try to figure out, was there a connection to anybody who bought one of these battery connectors or anybody who was physically near the Capitol at the time. A lot of data, billions and billions of little teeny bites of data that the FBI analyzed to try to find who had done this. And you'll remember that in this investigation, the operating theory always was that whoever planted these devices likely was trying to create a diversion when a series of pro-Trump supporters were breaching the Capitol and marching up to it and breaking down the glass and the doors to get inside.
And we don't know at this point what the motivation was. So we'll see if that theory plays out or not. Carol, thank you for your great reporting. We'll let you get right back to it. In the meantime, it looks like they may still be collecting evidence. These are live pictures we're seeing in Woodbridge, Virginia. I believe it's the suspect's home or property, or at least a property connected to the suspect, now identified by our team as 30-year-old Brian Cole. And I want to bring in former senior FBI official Chris O'Leary, who's an MS National Security and Intelligence analyst, here with me as we're looking at these pictures. What could they be doing at this stage of the investigation if they have a person in custody?
Yeah, so my understanding through my contacts is this is the subject's parents' home, and he lives with them still. My understanding is the FBI waited for him to depart that residence this morning because there was concern there might be explosive components in the home, so they wanted to arrest him away from the home, which they did. And now what you're seeing is the special agent bomb technicians clearing the home to make sure it's safe of any energetic material, so then the evidence response team can go in there. And you can see on the video, they're also searching the car, which they have blocked off. And the FBI will have search warrants for all of these, be very strict about their protocols. I'm trying to find out, is there anything that will corroborate the information that they have? And on the explosive materials, are there any precursors or components that suggest that he has done this before? They will take all of his computers and everything and exploit those. They'll all go to the lab at Quantico. One thing to note is the FBI is the lead agency in what's called TDAC, the Terrorist Explosive Device Analytics Center. And it's really just a collection of all explosive components collected from devices around the world and in the United States, and it's really just a catalog of all of it. So they will compare and contrast all of that information against their holdings.
I mean, Chris, if this turns out was evidence that they had in their possession all along and they just missed it, what kind of a black eye is it for the FBI?
Well, everybody wants results immediately, especially in something as high profile as this. It sounds like from the investigation, and I didn't work this investigation at all, that they were going through all of their analysis and trying to gather additional information, but they were constantly diverted also. I mean, so there's a finite amount of resources. This is work by Washington Field Office. Washington Field Office also had the lead for January 6th. So investigators that could have been dedicated to this and solely to this were also investigating all the folks who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. On the explosive device, the FBI Special Agent bomb technicians, who are exceptional investigators, I mean, they're a bomb squad. There's only a limited number of them in each field office, so there's not that many resources to throw at this. And investigations sometimes take time. It sounds like they pulled all the commercially available data from any cell phones, handsets that were there, any cellular analysis, going through kind of old school gumshoe investigative work, pulling, footprints and clothing manufacturers and doing all the financial assessments. But, sometimes investigations take time, and it looks like we have a successful result finally.
He's 100% right. Sometimes investigations take time, and they can't just give results exactly when people want them. Now let's get over into this next video.
Breaking news as we start outnumbered right now. We are looking at Woodbridge, Virginia, and this happened just moments ago. We're going to pick up our coverage here. There were pipe bombs that were planted almost 5 years ago now outside the RNC and DNC headquarters near the U.S. Capitol complex. At the time, no one knew what that was about. Both political parties. So would that be political? Who knew at this point? Now, all these years later, it'll be 5 years next month, they have picked up a suspect in this. And the house that you see at the center of your screen, and maybe just a little bit to the right, is a car that they're also looking at. These are the federal authorities who are in that cul-de-sac in Woodbridge, Virginia, looking for evidence. And they've been coming and going from the car that we could see with stuff that they're bringing out to that sort of collection zone that they've made. Don't know yet what the evacuation order would be for the neighborhood. Haven't been able to gather that kind of information. It's worth getting, as they will. And my guest last hour, Paul Morrow, of course, former NYPD and attorney, Fox News contributor, was saying, look, they may want to talk with other people right there, but right now they're focused on this house. One of the things that we know that they may be looking at or looking for are further evidences or devices, pipe bomb making devices, materials, that sort of thing, making sure that the house is not booby-trapped. So this is a huge job, and we don't have control over this live aerial picture right now, but if and when they pull out, you'll see how big the federal agency response has been to this in law enforcement. There are many, many people there.
Now, we're not going to watch this whole thing. Let's pivot real quickly into, let's get over into this video just so we can actually see some more things. Let's get into it.
And I do want to get you right to some breaking news that we are following involving an investigation that began more than 5 years ago. Take a look at your screen. We do have this look at some of the surveillance video that came out after this incident on the eve of January 6th. The FBI now saying they have made an arrest in that 5-year investigation into who placed pipe bombs in Washington on the eve of the January 6, 2021 incident that unfolded at the U.S. Capitol. Now, that is according to the Associated Press, receiving that information here from a law enforcement official. The arrest does mark the first time that investigators have settled on a suspect in an act that had long vexed law enforcement there, spawned several different conspiracy theories, and remained one of the mysteries here in the shadow of American history. The official who described the arrest spoke on the condition that they could remain anonymous because they were not authorized to publicly discuss a case that has not yet been made public. The arrest, we are told, took place this morning, and the suspect is a man. Again, that's according to officials. No other details have been released just yet, including what charges that person could face. The pipe bombs, you may remember, were placed on the evening of January 5th, 2021, right near the offices of the Democratic and Republican National Committees in D.C. Nobody was injured before the bombs were rendered safe, but the FBI has said that both devices could have been lethal. Again,
okay, so we basically got the gist of everything that's happening. So main thing is, so Cole, he was arrested on today, 2025. December 4th, 2025, and he was charged with transporting explosive devices in an interstate commerce and attempted malice destruction by means of fire and explosive material. That is what he's being charged with right now, because as you know, they did not explode and he did not take anybody's life. It's a crazy situation, but he has been caught after almost 5 years. After almost 5 years. Absolutely crazy. Y'all let me know your thoughts on that situation. Or do you truly believe that he is the pipe bomber? Some people might say, oh, they're just trying to get some extra stars and he's not the real suspect. But what are your thoughts, y'all? What are your thoughts on that whole situation? It's a crazy world we live in. And it's crazy to think somebody would build bombs to either distract or kill people. But we got to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. We're going to go over into our next topic. It looks like 92,000 pounds of drugs and explosives. Speaking of explosives, 92,000 pounds of drugs and explosives were found in a Florida raid. Yes, I said that. A Florida raid. So let's get over into it and see what we can learn from this situation. Let's jump over into it. Hopefully, he looked young. But let's get over into it.
Thank you for tuning in to Live Now from Fox. We're turning our attention to a story that takes us down to Florida after more than 90,000 pounds of a substance or a drug said to contain deadly amounts of opioid was seized in northern Florida. Joining us live now to discuss this and bring an update to this entire situation is Fox 35 Orlando's Marley Capper. She is joining us now. Marley, this is a huge amount that was seized by police.
Good morning. Yeah, the suspect has actually had prior involvement with police as early as the age of 19. That's according to the sheriff's office here. And right now they're calling this case Breaking Bad on steroids. Take a look at the video. You can see that deputies say they teamed up with the DEA, ATF, and Palm Bay police to confiscate 92,000 pounds of a substance used to make a drug known as 7-OH, a drug that's 3 times stronger than morphine. Florida recently passed an emergency law banning it. Investigators say the suspect, 26-year-old Maxwell Horvata, also had materials to create large amounts of explosives, along with 36 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Folks, this is what danger.
Yeah, hold on. We're not going. Let's back. He was trying to do something. This sounds like criminal activity. There's some working for the cartel, something. 92,000 pounds, multiple guns.
Folks, this is what danger looks like right here. Everything that you see behind us, everything you see in front of us is a red flag for disaster. It is. You look, the guy was making his own suppressors, fully automatic weapons, explosive devices. This guy was either looking to engage war or looking to arm those and furnish to those that are. And you see, even had, as you can see in the video, even had a 50 cal on a tripod, ready to do serious damage.
Nah, back that up a tad bit. Wow. So I'm thinking he was selling them. That means that's the only, well, he could have been a storage house, but main thing, he was probably selling it to the criminals. Because there's big money in illegal guns, big money in drugs. A 50 cal on a tripod.
A 50 cal on a tripod, ready to do serious damage.
The sheriff's office says this is the largest seizure of its kind in U.S. history, and that Horvata could spend the rest of his life in federal prison. Currently, he is in the Brevard County Jail. Sheriff Wayne Ivey says he is waiting on federal indictment. For now, reporting live for Live Now with Fox, Marley Capper. We'll send things back to you.
All right, Marley, thanks so much for joining us there in Brevard County. I do want to take us out to some more of that footage that we have here, courtesy of investigators who seized all of these illegal drugs. And as you heard from Marley's report there, she played a little bit of an update that we had from those same investigators. I do have the full presser, if you could say, or the news conference that was released not too long, about 5 minutes, but it really breaks down just how serious this case is. As Marley had said, this is the largest drug bust in the nation's history.
Absolutely crazy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sheriff Wayne Ivey of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and I'm standing here with Palm Bay Chief Agello. We're going to give you a breakdown on a case that our agencies worked today along with DEA, ATF, other federal task force members. I'm going to start out by saying what you see lying on the table in front of us with all the guns. A lot of these weapons are automatic weapons. We'll get into some of the meat and potatoes of this in just a second. But what's even more concerning, the boxes that you see behind us, and I'm going to step out of the way where you can take a good look at them. All of these boxes contain, and this is just half of it, by the way, it goes all the way back, contain 92,000 pounds of a extracted substance that's taken out of kratom, the substance kratom, taken out of kratom, and it makes it what's called 7.0, which recently the Florida legislature did an emergency bill to make 7.0 illegal here in the state of Florida. Maxwell Horvath is who we have in custody for this. Chief, I know you've got the briefing as well as I have. Search warrant earlier this morning. Our team went out, as I said, agents from all the different agencies involved, feds and local law enforcement, working on this. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Maxwell Horvath, and then the chief's going to talk about some of the things that he had inside. 26 years old. In 2017, now remember, he's just 26 years old. In 2017, he served 2 years in federal prison for possession of an explosive device, trafficking in MDMA. He got 2 years of federal probation. Well, he's got a lot more coming now, including pending federal indictments that are coming on him. Chief, if you'll talk a little bit about the explosive stuff they found.
Yeah, sure. So before we get 26 years old, y'all. 26. He's younger than me. They say the street market had like 4.7, but they might get 4.7 million street market value on the drugs and everything. But then at 2017, he was already served 2 years in federal prison. Some people about that life. Some people just are about that life. Let's keep going.
I appreciate it. Great collaboration, as you mentioned, by all agencies and departments involved. But yeah, so for example, improvised explosive devices, 5 IEDs were located on this property where the warrant was initiated at. Not to mention grenade simulators and 50 pounds of precursor chemicals to make explosives. So we're not just talking about drugs. We're not just talking about illegal substances out in the streets. We're talking about explosive devices, things that the military are utilizing and other countries are utilizing all over the world to take out populations of people. I said, this is
terrorist activities across the board. When you look at the explosive devices, as the chief said, 50 pounds. In addition to that, and I'm gonna read it off: 12 rifles, 1 short-barreled rifle, 17 pistols, 3 shotguns, 1 revolver, 2 fully automatic submachine guns, 3 suppressors, and thousands of rounds of ammunition. And then, as I said, on top of that, 92,000 pounds. From everything that we can tell from our federal partners, this is the largest seizure of this kind in the country. Nobody's ever been able to do this. As I said, Florida recently passed an emergency law making the 7.0 substance, the derivative of the kratom, making it illegal. The best part of this is Horvath knows it's illegal, but thinks he's circumventing the system. He actually runs a business called Overseas Organics, and he thinks that because you go there and make a purchase, or you make a purchase online and he ships it out of the state of Florida, he's not violating the law. Well, trick or treat. He is. Not only is he violating the law for that, but all the weapons, all the explosive devices, everything else that he has is going to land him in prison for the rest of his life. Now,
he sounds like he's trying to be like, because most of this sounds like he was selling it. So this is like the younger merchant of death. Even though we traded, we're not going to get over into that, but let's keep going.
Back in September, our agents worked together, made buys from Horvath. He actually even gave him a tour of his business. I mean, he's proud of his business. And you're seeing in some of the film that we're rolling now for you, the business. This thing looked like Breaking Bad on steroids is what it looked like. He had it lined up with all sorts of different chambers and rooms and sterile environments, everything else. And they were taking it, extracting it, putting it in compressing machines. As I said, his company would ship it out. And he would, even if you went there and made the purchase, he would tell you he's got to ship it to somebody in another state, because that way he thought it made it legal. Well, it didn't. All right. And he's in custody. We're still putting all the charges on him. I can tell you right now.
26 years old and stupid. Stupid.
Now he's going to have automatically 36 counts possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 1 count possession of short-barreled rifle, 2 counts possession of short-barreled machine gun, and then more charges coming for the explosive. So
yeah, Sheriff, it's like you said, 26 years old, already pretty much a career offender. Started at the age of 17.
And they didn't even mention the drugs yet.
Federal charges, federal indictments. He has no regard for the sanctity of life, and great Great job by your folks, man. It was great collaboration.
Yeah, great job by our agents, our local partners, our federal partners. Folks, this is what danger looks like right here. Everything that you see behind us, everything you see in front of us is a red flag for disaster. It is, I mean, you look, the guy was making his own suppressors, fully automatic weapons, explosive devices. This guy was either looking to engage war or looking to arm those and furnish to those that are. And you see, even had, as you can see in the video, even had a 50 cal on a tripod, ready to do serious damage. So he's locked up. He's in Ivy's Iron Bar Lodge. He's going to stay there. As I said, he's got pending federal indictments. Those indictments will make sure that he spends the rest of his life right where he deserves, and that's in prison. But great job by all of our team. 92,000 pounds of this synthetic substance. So
92,000 pounds. He had the Breaking Bad setup. Breaking Bad on steroids. And this man was 26 years old. 26
the
years
briefing
old.
is we haven't to make 7-0 illegal here in the state of Florida. Maxwell Horvath is who we have.
26 years old and most likely going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Hopefully he was making some good money before he got caught. But it's over with now. Absolutely crazy. Y'all let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know how you feel about it. It's a crazy world. He had automatic machine guns. And a street value. They didn't even talk about that. Let's get over into that before we go over into. They said that it had a street value. So it said with an estimated street value of $4.7 million, the substance that made the 7-0, the one that they most recently called illegal, is 13 times more potent than morphine. Absolutely crazy world we live in, y'all. It's a crazy world. I'm happy that he was caught because, hey, you just need these people off the street. But let me know your thoughts on this situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. We're going to pivot into the last thing we're going to talk about today, the very last thing. We had some young man, set a sleeping subway rider on fire. Yes, I said that. Sleeping subway rider on fire. So let's get over into this, and then we're going to go into our article. It's a crazy world. It can be a horrible world sometimes. A homeless man just trying to sleep, and you set him on fire on the subway. You got to be a demon. You got to be a demon. Let's get over into it.
The NYPD is on the hunt for the man behind a shocking crime on the subway. Police say he set a sleeping man on fire on a 3 train in Manhattan earlier this week. News 4's Charles Watson is live in Midtown with a look at who police are trying to track down here. Charles?
Yeah, well, Gumma, there had initially been some confusion about what happened to the victim in this case because police say his story changed several times. Now police have released video of a man they'd like to question about that fire. The NYPD putting a call out to the public to help identify the man seen in this subway security video. Investigators say he is wanted in connection with an assault in which a 56-year-old homeless man was set on fire while aboard a 3 train shortly after 3 a.m. Monday.
Who would ever light someone on fire? I've never heard of that. It's strange.
Police say the victim was a passenger riding a northbound 3 train approaching the 34th Street Penn Station stop. When the train's door opened, investigators say an unidentified man approached the victim, briefly stepped into the car, and set the man on fire before exiting. This disturbing video showing police tending to the man who had severe burns on his legs. He was later rushed to a hospital where doctors are tending to the burns.
There's evil people out there that are going to do whatever they want.
Frequent subway rider Asia Smith says the shocking incident reminds her of a similar assault that turned deadly on a train nearly a year ago.
Not too long ago, there's that woman that got set on fire. And
it's just devastating and sad.
Smith referencing Debrina Kawam, the 57-year-old woman who was killed last year after police say a 34-year-old man set her on fire as she slept on a Brooklyn-bound F train just 3 days before Christmas. Back in Midtown, Chicago native Corey Bandura says the incidents are disturbing, but says he still feels safe in the subway for the most part.
I don't mind hopping on the train here because I've lived in Chicago where you hit the train a lot too. I almost feel safer on the train here sometimes.
Others choosing to err on the side of caution while calling for greater mental health support to hopefully prevent these things from happening again.
We need to think about
mental health support. I mean, I guess you can say mental health support, but at the end of the day, if someone's setting someone on fire on the train, it's already gone past mental health to me. That's he's a criminal. He deserves to be behind bars for the rest of his life. Come on now, let's be. I hate when people just go straight into mental health. Yes, mental health is a problem. Yes, it's devastating. Yes, we need to help people, but sometimes mental health is not that's not the problem. People are demons. That's the problem. But people aren't going to say that. Let's get into it.
the priorities of the social and political system and where our priorities lie.
Yeah, and so at this point, why the victim was set on fire is under investigation. Police say the man they're looking to question was last seen heading northbound on a 3 train. We're live in Midtown. Charles Watson, News 4 New York.
Absolutely crazy.
Now to that breaking news on Long Island. 2 people stabbed.
But we're going to get over into this article now. And it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. Let's get into it. Let's get into this article. So from the New York Post, maniac who set homeless man on fire seen fleeing subway in surveillance footage. So the maniac who set a homeless man on fire in Manhattan subway train early Monday is still on the loose, leading police to release surveillance images in hopes of tracking him down. The unidentified victim suffered significant burns to his legs and was badly scorched in the attack. The cops found skin on one of the seats of the train, law enforcement said. Oh my God. Surveillance photos released by police Wednesday show the suspect at the station wearing a black hat, gray hooded jacket, black pants, black boots, and lugging a backpack. Let's see. Oh, so you got different pictures of the victims. The burn victim was treated for his injuries at New York pedestrian weed corn at the medical center. His condition was not immediately available. Police are asking for anybody with information. Let's get over into this next article. So this is from Fox. So the New York teen arrested, charged with setting a homeless man on fire. So he has been arrested. 18-year-old Manhattan man has been charged with attempted murder and arson after a homeless man rider was doused in flames. So an 18-year-old man, young, 18 years old, has been arrested and charged with setting a homeless New York City subway rider on fire as he sleeps. Harmon Carmelio, I'm not good with names, but it don't matter, he's a criminal. Harm Carmelio, a Manhattan resident, was charged with attempted murder, 3 counts of assault, criminal mischief, arson, and reckless endangerment, the New York Police Department said. The New York Police Department made an arrest after it released surveillance video this week of a suspect in Monday's attack. Investigators said that the suspect boarded the number 3 train at Penn Station just 3 a.m. When he saw a 56-year-old man sleeping. He lit the homeless man on fire and then left the train. Police said the victim was badly burned but is expected to survive. However, he was so badly scorched that authorities found his skin on the seat of the train. The footage released by the police show basically what he was wearing. In December 2024, so that's back in last year, a woman was killed after she was set on fire in an unprovoked attack on the New York subway train in Brooklyn. And then the Sebastian Zapata, whatever his name is, 33, previously deported immigrant from Guatemala, was arrested in that incident. It's a crazy world, but he has been caught. He has been caught. 18-year-old demon. 18-year-old demon out there setting homeless people on fire for God knows what reason. But he attempted, they're charging him with attempted murder. But let's read the charges one more time before we end it. He's charging him with attempted murder, 3 counts of assault, criminal mischief, arson, and reckless endangerment. 18 years old, and he needs to be behind bars for life. Simple as that. He needs to be behind bars for life. Absolutely sickening crime, but I'm happy that he was arrested. Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. How much you think he needs to be in jail for life, or you think that's not or do you truly think let me know if you think he'll actually get life, or he'll probably attempted murder, all those counts, he's not going to get life. We got to be honest. We know the justice system. We've seen a lot of these videos. We know, we have context clues. We know how the legal system works. He's not going to be in there for life, but this is something that he deserves to be in there for life for. At least that's my understanding. But he's probably going to get, I don't know how long, maybe about 18. He's going to be probably like 20 years. Anywhere from 10 to 20 years I could see him getting. But is that enough time? Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Absolutely crazy. But that is the end of the show today, y'all. Like always, we talk about some crazy things. Let me make a note. If anybody, it's just because we talked about the Texas A&M student who was ended up killing herself. We need to talk about, please, if you're dealing with something, please go talk to someone. Reach out for someone for help. You don't have to deal with it alone. I just want to say that. But thank you all for watching now. Thank you for watching later. It's a crazy world we live in, but we got to review the world together. Remember, y'all, this is AC Reviews the World, and I am your host, AC the Engineer. And we just got to review the world together. We have to review the world together and keep moving forward. Thank you for watching, y'all. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. But you already know, take a little sip, like my cup. Yeah, that's it for now, y'all. You already know these videos will be broken down, but I got to play the outro. Peace.